Here with another ship's roster review, and today I'm looking at DinoVe's ships. So currently, DinoVe is using a Falcon fleet with Biggs and Houndstooth, and TIE Advance, TIE Silencer, Slave 1, and Wedge as reinforcements, which has him around rank 89. So we're going to take a look at his fleet, see what improvements we can do to it, and tell him maybe some units he can switch in and out. So DinoVe, right off the bat though, Houndstooth and Millennium Falcon should definitely both be in your starting fleet at the moment. But Biggs, I'm not really sure on because of how low gear your Biggs is. Now, Biggs is definitely a ship you want in that third slot. The problem is, you come down here and look at your Biggs. He's gear 8 or 9. Yeah, gear 8, which means the ship isn't as tanky as it needs to be for you. You really should have Biggs up at gear 12. He's the second best tank in ships regardless. So you need to have him, and having him is going geared up is going to be essential for things like territory wars when you want to be using your Houndstooth with other fleets, because Houndstooth is the best tank in the game, and by using them both in the same fleet, you're harming yourself for things like territory wars. And this isn't going to soak up damage for you in arena being gear 8, gear 9. So one of the most important gear farms for you ships wise should be Biggs Darklighter, because otherwise this ship is useless to you at this low level. Maybe you're getting some use out of it, but it's not going to be as good for you until you get it geared up. One of the other things I noticed is your Akbar is low gear. Having a capital ship you're using low gear can be really harmful, because gear increase the speed on the capital ship. So if you increase the speed on the capital ship, you're going to be doing better in arena. And I've noticed before with myself, by having increased speed on my capital ship, even if it was just one speed that I got from putting a Zeta on a capital ship like Thrawn, that can sometimes make all the difference. So you really need to gear up your Akbar. The other thing I'm noticing by looking closer at this is you haven't put any of the abilities into band together, which is really strange because, which is strange. I believe this is just one of the normal skills on your Akbar, but still, if you're using this as your capital ship, putting these ability pieces in, it's going to be increasing the speed and other stats on your ship as well. You may not want to do it, but it's a capital ship, so you need to do it. Any ships you use, the abilities underneath them, regardless of the type, matter for increasing the skill set of the character. And let's just take a look at your home one in general. The most important one for you to max out here as you gear up your Akbar is going to be this band together. It's another reason you need to gear up your Akbar, because this is essentially the leadership ability for your ship, and the problem is band together goes off of whatever Akbar's gear level is. So you have to increase its gear to be able to max out this ability. It's the most important ability because it gives overall buffs to your whole team, which will increase its damage and increase the protection the ship gains. So that's going to be another important reason for gearing up your Akbar. And overall, abilities in order you'd want to be worried about, Defiant Volley should probably be the second ability you're most worried about maxing out. Siege to the Advantage, the third one you're most worried about. Master Plan should be your fourth priority, and Mon Cal Cannon should be your fifth priority. Hopefully that helps. But, so, number one gearing priority, at the moment, is going to be your Biggs, effective tank. It'll be able to take a lot more damage for you in battle by gearing it up. Number 2, though, should be Akbar, because this is going to increase the gear. It's going to let you get the full effect of that band together. It's going to increase speed. It's going to give you the full effect of that leadership ability for the ship. Okay, third, your Chewie on your Falcon should probably be your third gearing priority, because it's the main ship. It's going to increase its damage, increase its health, increase all that. And gearing up Han Solo, same thing, but Chewie's lower gear, which means you'll be able to get much more benefit out of it. He'll be a little bit easier to gear up a few more levels than Han. Ultimately, both of these should be geared up. You gotta treat ships like you treat your arena. If you're not treating ships like you treat your arena, gearing wise, you're not doing a great job. Now, you can probably get away compared to arena with having your characters a little lower gear. My recommendations are typically gear 12 for starting ships and capital ships, and gear 11 for reinforcements. If you decide to go above that, great for you. It gives you the same overall bonuses. But that's probably what you should be aiming for. So, your starting ships for the moment, definitely Han's Falcon, HT. If you want to stick with with Biggs, go ahead. Having that Rebel ship does give you some increased damage. I'm just not sure it's going to be as effective right now. The problem is, your Rebels overall aren't great, DinoVe. You really have to increase your Rebels, because the Falcon is based around Rebel synergy, and by the more Rebels you have there, apart from Houndstooth, the better the fleet's going to do. So, for example, a reinforcement I think you should be using is Phantom 2. Covert Strike, one of the best reinforcement abilities in the game. This lets you get out other ships faster. And I don't think its gearing priority is nearly as high as the other ships I have already mentioned. It would be nice if you got your Sabine Wren 7-star and geared up some in your chopper gear 11, but I don't think you have to. Phantom, though, gives you a little bit more Rebel synergy with Han's Millennium Falcon, which is excellent. But here's the problem I run into next with suggesting reinforcements. For an effective Falcon team, you need someone whose reinforcement ability dispels all buffs on the other side. And there's 2 ships renowned for doing this: Cassian Jewwing and Ebon Hawk. And it seems like you're nowhere close to either of those. So that's going to make it more difficult for you to take out other Falcon teams, because those ships are imperative for being able to come out, expose the other side's Falcon, so you can go ahead and attack that after you maybe use Phantom 2 first, or if you see that they're weak, and you can go ahead and probably take out that Falcon in one swoop. So you'll want to think about working on either one of those ships going forward. In the meantime, though, what ships do you have that would be good as reinforcements? Well, TIE Advance and Slave 1 are both going to be good options for you at the moment. These are ships, though, that are really best used in secondary fleets or territory wars. You'll want to look at phasing out over time. But for the moment, those ships will be good second and third option, I think, for you. Another ship you might want to look at as a reinforcement is going to be Ghost. I think this is a lot better ship than Wedge Antilles X-Wing for you to be using. Your hair is at least gear 11. You could use some gearing on your Zeb and Kanan to gear 11. I know it's a lot of Carbontes, but it's an effective ship. I'm still using the ship. All those characters for me are gear 11. It's pretty effective, and it has extra synergy with Phantom, making it even better. And it has some good abilities. So I think trying out Ghost, seeing how that works for you over Wedge might be good. Now, if you're having a lot of trouble with taking out opposing um, Houndstooths, then Wedge may be that option for you. However, once you start gearing up your other Rebel ships, you really should have no problem since you have Han's Falcon, because on its basic should be dispelling all that protection on opposing Houndstooths. So, and Wedge isn't that great of ship in the long run. The only time I use it is Territory Wars as a 4th reinforcement option for my Rebel fleet that I never get to. So, in the long run, it's not one you want to gear up. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for you. You really just need to focus down gearing on some things. So you need to gear up your bigs so that second tank is good. You're getting more effect out of it as you're only starting Rebel ship. You need to gear up your home one so that you have a more competitive advantage in terms of speed of your capital ship, and also so you can get the full effect of band together, the unique ability on the capital ship that acts as its leadership. You need to gear up your Chewie and your Han because it's a central part of that fleet. So they really need to be good together. The great thing though is your Bosk is at least gear 12, which means you're getting full effect of that. Other things you need to think about. I'm wanting you to use Phantom 2, at least test it out, see how it works for you, because its reinforcement ability is great and it can come in and deal massive damage with its maximum impact ability. But if you're going to be using it long term, you need to get Sabine gear 7 star, and the underlying character is gear 11. Same thing with Ghost if you're going to be using that long term. And you want those ships because they have those Rebel synergies. Millennium Falcon are going to be a lot better long term for you using a Falcon fleet than, let's say, TIE Advance or Slave 1. TIE Advance, Slave 1 right now are really the only other options for you. You also need to think about getting either Ebon Hawk or Cassian G-Wing for the long term, because those ships, with their massive dispel and the reinforcement ability, are most effective at helping destroy other Falcon teams. I personally suggest Cassian G-Wing, but Ebon Hawk has some good anti-target lock synergies and can work well on these Falcon teams as well. And then I also like Biston G-Wing. I haven't mentioned it to this point, and I think you're a long ways off from having to worry about that ship. And Rebel fleets can still be effective without Biston G-Wing, but they're even more effective with it. If you're not going to go after Biston G-Wing, then maybe work on Wedge, get him up to gear 11 at least, so he can be a little bit more of an effective ship for you, and gives you a more baseline of a Rebel fleet that you can use for things like territory wars. So I hope that helps right there, DinoVe, for what you should be using as your central fleet. Obviously, Home 1, the 3 starters you're using now, but with some seriously gearing put in, Phantom, TIE Advance Slave 1, and Ghost are my suggestions that you could use Wedge in place of probably Ghost. But you need to be working on Rebel stuff. Now, the other thing to be thinking on the long term is it looks like we're getting into a meta shift pretty soon. And that meta shift is going to be Clone Wars, Galactic Republic specifically. So I would be looking at those Galactic Republic ships, kind of planning ahead, especially at things like Anakin's ETA and Ahsoka and Umbaran are going to be super useful. And thankfully for you, those underlying characters are probably going to be a lot more things you're a lot more willing to gear up comparatively. If you have any more questions on upcoming fleets or whatnot, I'm willing to answer that. I don't know as much about the Galactic Republic stuff at the moment because I've never played around with it too much, but it's at least something to think about. Either way, this Millennium Falcon fleet, if you invest in it, is going to be a great secondary fleet for you and will probably allow you to climb into at least the top 50, if not higher, for 3 or 4 more months. hopefully longer. But we'll see what happens with the negotiator fleet and how common that becomes as that develops in the fleet arena. But I hope this really helps you, DinoVe. If not, ask me questions on Discord. I'll be sure to talk to you about it.